From new trendy holidays such as National French Fry Day to more traditional ones like the Chinese New Year, there's several holidays that are celebrated around the world. Some of the most popular being St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's Day, and Halloween, which is extremely popular in the United States. Even if you don't observe this holiday for religious or personal reasons, it's still important to understand the origins and the traditions of it because it's so relevant in our culture today. You could be driving down the street and you'll see billboards advertising all sorts of haunted houses and pumpkin patches you'll go to. You can go to your local stores and you'll see Halloween decorations and costumes everywhere. So even if you don't celebrate it, it's still important to understand why some people do. And even with all of the different variations in the different cultures that celebrate this holiday, all of our ancestors used this time to dress up and have festivals and offer sacrifices to honor the souls of the dead. So it's best to start with the origin of Halloween so we can understand the similarities that all of these cultures share. So Halloween has been observed on October 31st for over 2,000 years. It got its name from the medieval Roman Church, who originally celebrated their Festival of the Dead in February. They moved it to November 1st and called this day All Saints' Day. It's talked about in the History of Halloween article in Skeptic's 1999 journal, and they explain that All Saints' Day was also known as All Hallows' Day, and Hallows means holy people. So they celebrated All Hallows Day on November 1st. Naturally, the day before that, October 31st, was referred to as All Hallows Eve. And on this day, the church performed services and they gave sacrifices to honor the souls of the dead. And this started the tradition of having Halloween on October 31st. Now, the reason that they changed the holiday from February to November is because they thought that as the times grew colder, the souls of the dead became more active, and they felt it was only right for all of the things that they had harvested in the previous seasons that they were saving for the colder seasons. They felt an obligation to share those harvests with the souls of the dead who were going to be roaming the earth in the cold, and this started the tradition of actually having something to celebrate and something to give, something to offer on October 31st. So one of the most popular traditions that we have in the United States is dressing up and taking our kids door to door to collect candy. The journal also explains that initially the adults were the ones who went door to door asking for donations for food and money to offer the souls of the dead, and this was looked at as good luck because it offered protection from the evil wrath of the souls. Jack Santino speaks in his 1996 article about having a conversation with a guy named Ferris Dennis, and they talk about how in Ireland the traditions of trick-or-treating were a little bit different because they celebrate Guy Fawkes Night. Now, Guy Fawkes Night is typically celebrated on November 5th in other countries like New Zealand and Scotland and England, but Ireland celebrates Guy Fawkes Night, otherwise known as Bonfire Night, in conjunction with Halloween on October 31st. And they celebrate Guy Fawkes Night because he was their king and he survived every attempt to kill him. So they honor him by lighting fireworks and bonfires, and the children go door to door asking for pennies to donate to him. And if you don't have a penny you can give, there's other alternatives, but that's what started the tradition of trick-or-treating in Ireland. Now that we discussed the history, we can move on to explore some of the customs practiced by these cultures around the world. As we talked about, Halloween happens the night before All Saints' Day. So the countries that observe this honor the holiday from October 31st to November 2nd. And that's the same time frame that the Latin Americans celebrate their Festival of the Dead that they call Dia de los Muertos, which translates to Day of the Dead. Now, some of us are familiar with the controversy that Halloween has in the United States with everyone's different religious and political backgrounds, but Jack Santino also speaks about this in his 1996 article that in Ireland, Halloween is regarded as a holiday of unity, where everyone can put aside their identities and their beliefs and their backgrounds to all come on one accord. It's described as an ideal holiday where otherwise clashing traditions can coexist peaceably. One of the biggest commonalities that all of these cultures share is the spooky factor. Halloween has always been regarded as a scary holiday because, again, as the times grew colder, the barrier between the living and the dead grew smaller and smaller, so people believed that communication with the dead was possible. And this instilled a lot of fear in people because they believed that the devil was also his most powerful during the cold months. Another scary factor was the tradition of the jack-o'-lantern. As far as my childhood goes, we just used to carve out pumpkins with silly faces and sit them outside. The tradition of the jack-o'-lantern is that it was a lamp that was lit to guide the dead souls to the donations of food and money that people had left out for them. So that's pretty much it on the spooky factor. With Halloween being right around the corner, I just wanted to leave you with this quote by Athena Trevarthen in her 1996 article. No matter what you decide to do, whether you dress up this year and go trick-or-treating or you stay home and drink hot chocolate and watch movies with your family, Halloween is a holiday that gives us the opportunity to look at our fears and fantasies, dress up as them, and realize that they are not so scary after all. Have a happy Halloween.